This is the third small group discussion with J. Krishnamurti at Brockwood Park, 1973.
What shall we talk over together? Shall we go on? With what we were talking about last weekend?
Yes.
Do you remember any of it? I don't.
Yeah. You were speaking, you had reached a point in talking to us about watching the movement of mind and how that was taking place in time, and that the mind there necessarily becomes quite still.
Well, let's forget it. Let's begin something new, shall we? What shall we talk about? Or rather, together?
Could we talk about resistance, sir?
Resistance? Come on, suggest something.
How dualistic thought is.
How dualistic thought is.
And perhaps tied in with resistance, the thought that we are the world and the world is us.
Should we talk about, as it was suggested, why we always seem to function and live in duality? Isn't that it, sir?
Yes.
Should we, would that be of interest and so on? All right. What do we mean by duality? And does duality exist at all? And what is duality? The opposing contradictory desires with their opposite pulls and drives. The physiological opposites, man, woman, darkness and light, tall and short. Surely we don't mean that, but we mean, don't we, the duality in us that is constantly in battle with each other. Pride, position, denying, humility, and so on. Isn't that so, sir?
Yes.
They want and not want, what is and what should be. The whole psychological area in which apparently duality exists. The me and the not me, we and they. Proceed, sir. How does this come about? what is its nature? Why is there this contradictory desires? Right. Help me out, somebody.
Because such is our lack of attention that we're pulled by any event, one way or another. Seems to be one of the things.
Why does it happen, sir? What is the reason for it? If you say lack of attention, then we go off into some other. Why is there in one this contradictory drives, urges? The ideological and the factual.
Is it because we compare, sir?
What, sir?
Is it because we compare?
No, just let's examine, sir. Let's find out. Would there be this contradictory and opposing and desire if one understood the first desire? I don't know if I'm conveying it. I love, and I hate. Jealous, and so on. Is there an opposite to love? Or the hate one feels, if one understood it completely, would that bring about a duality, the conflict between hate and non-hate? And is it because that one cannot go beyond what is, or one doesn't know, or one has not the energy or the capacity to go beyond what is, the mind invents what is not. And the conflict is between what is and what is not.
That what is not is the ideal.
Ideal, whatever it is. The opposite, the ideal, the what should be, the perfect, the principle, the one, true, for all that.
What might happen and so forth.
Yeah, so forth. Now, if the mind could understand and go beyond and above what is, then would there be duality?
I can't see that they really are opposites, because the what is only what is, and then.
No, madam, I'm asking if the mind knew how to transcend what is, go beyond what is, would there be duality?
But that's already. To try to answer that question is already making a duality.
No, not
Perhaps
quite,
I'm
not quite. I'm a coward. And the opposite to that is courage. And all my culture has taught me that. Strive, become what you are not. You are cowardly, you must conquer that and become courageous. Courage is the opposite of cowardly. I mean, as is understood.
Yes, yes.
But, no, not but. Would there be the whole principle and the structure of courage if the mind understood completely what it is to be cowardly? Would there be the opposite at all? For me, there is no opposite in that sense. I object to you.
You say that cowardice is an image, and so is courage.
Yeah, both. No, both are images. You see, that's what I'm.
And therefore, they're not what is.
Yes, not what is. I am cowardly, and education, culture, and the religious structure and the circus, everything says to me, be courageous. So my mind works on courage, tries to overcome cowardice, cover it up, suppress it, run away from it, do everything to be courageous, right? And so there is duality. If the mind could understand what is, which is coward, being cowardly, would there be duality at all?
But being cowardly is an idea. There's no such thing as cowardly. Cowardly is a mental image that you've got of a certain kind of behaviour.
Yeah,
They're all inventions.
Agree, sir. But the image is so strong, as well as the image of courage is so strong.
Yes, so surely that's not the whole story. I mean, there is a feeling of fear, and I mean, the world today is a terrible place to live in.
Absolutely, agree, sir.
One does see that terrible things can happen. Now, some people face life much more courageously than others. They aren't only, the words are only labels for something which is really there. You can't just get out of it by saying courage is an image and
I know.
cowardice is an image.
No, I'm not trying to get out of it. I'm trying to find out how to live in this world, not be caught in either, neither being a coward nor courageous. I don't know if I'm conveying anything at all.
Is it that feeling, if you don't even use the word coward, call it afraid or whatever it is, there it is, but you want to conquer it with this thing which is, that's it, isn't it?
Yes.
So I've got to live with that.
No, I don't want to live with that. I question, sir, whether there is duality at all. I know there's man, woman, and all that dark. We're not talking psychologically. We're there, at that level. We're talking at the psychological level.
The thought is all right there. I can deal with it technically.
Technically,
and suddenly this other thing comes in.
Yes, that's right.
That's the trouble.
Yes. So if I understood, or if I had the energy, if the mind had energy sufficient enough to transform what is, then would it strive after its opposite?
It wouldn't be clinging to the image or the form of the.
So if it's so what was, there wouldn't be any opposite.
Just so we're investigating, we're not laying down.
So we have that energy then to live with what is, whatever
Look,
that
sir,
thing is.
I have not the energy to transcend what is. I'm cowardly, stupid, whatever it is. I have the energy to break through it. The mind has the energy to break through it. And how is it to have that energy to transcend it? I'm putting it question differently. It is wasting its energy in the pursuit of the opposite. And my whole education is that. The wastage of energy, hoping through that I will transcend or go beyond what is.
That's throwing away the energy.
So this is what mind is quoting. It is conditioned to accept the opposite as a means of transcending what is. And the whole world is based on this. Ireland, sorry, Catholic, Protestant. Now, is it possible to have that energy which will transcend what is? And then the problem of duality is non-existent.
So I'm sorry, I don't really understand what you mean by transcending what is.
All right, I won't even use the word transcending. Going beyond it. So I'm selfish. One is selfish. I don't know how to put this. And we have been taught to be unselfish. There is duality immediately. Can the mind push aside selfishness without using the ideology of unselfishness? Will it have enough energy to dissolve the center which is selfish without invoking the opposite, which is unselfishness, service, help others, forget yourself, and all that? I don't know if I'm making things clear. At least it's clear for me. It's rather difficult to put into words. I'll try and put it into words. Because where there is opposites, selfish and unselfishness, there must be conflict. Between the two, there must be conflict. And to me, personal conflict psychologically is utterly stupid, waste of time, waste of energy. And how is the mind to be free of selfishness without the least effort? The moment I introduce effort into it, it is the effort of duality, to become something else. The image I have of selfishness, which has been given to me from childhood, through education, through the culture I live in, through through religion, through books, everything, that image I have created. That image is the me. And the me says, I must not be this. I must be that image. That image is the me, essentially.
One will have to be quite content with what one is then.
No, we'll go into it a little bit. So I'm just saying to myself, how is the mind to be free of this center as the me, the selfishness, without that lever with which is generally the me is pushed out. Whether it's God, whether it is an idea, whether it is an image. My mind refuses to be in conflict. It says it is too stupid to be in conflict. If I'm in conflict in this house with the people, I walk out. I don't want to be in conflict. Now, can the mind be free of the self, the selfishness, all that's involved in it, without the conflict of an idea, the image, or introducing a new image, which is a new conditioning, and so will further bring about conflict? Can the mind be free of this egocentric activity without the least effort?
But Krishnamurti, that really would mean that the mind must stop operating, because the mind as we know it...
I don't know what it means. We're going to find out. I don't know what it will lead to. I'm going to find out.
There's three things there, isn't there? There's me, the selfish, whatever it is. There's two, I don't want to be selfish. The third one is, can I not be this selfish person without all this effort?
No, that's only... I don't have the image of not being selfish. I have only one problem, not two problems. The only problem that this person has is it possible to be free of that selfishness which creates such mischief? That's all. Not how to become unselfish. That becomes another problem.
Yeah, that's different.
In the origin of the act of putting aside the selfishness, isn't it?
And no. I see I'm sorry I took selfishness. It's a very complex thing.
Ambitious.
Greed, envy, ambition. Envy, it's the same thing, envy. Can my mind be free of the desire which expresses itself in envy? Not introducing another problem of changing envy into non-envy. I see the changing of envy into a non-envy is a wastage of time because it involves conflict. It involves suppression of what is, and so on. So the opposite doesn't exist, at least for me, for the person who is speaking. So he says, I have only one problem, which is, can the mind free itself, or whatever word one may use, to be free of envy? Have I made my question clear?
it still seems like a duality because I don't understand what is envy and I want to be free of it.
No, wait, no, I'll show you what envy is. Envy. I envy the man who has a big car. I envy the man who's got better brains than I have. I envy the man who can talk, paint, dozen things.
That, yes.
And that's all I'm talking of. That's all I'm talking of. Of the man, I'm envious of the man who has power. And I see what envy does in the world. Objectively, I see what is happening through envy. The political envy, the politicians who prevent, all that. And the envy of the religious organizations, the envy of the gurus, I'm a better guru than you are, and so on, so on, so on. And the envy of the followers of their... all that. Now, can the mind be free of that? Not free in the sense become something else. I don't know, that's surely something, that's clear.
So doesn't this involve staying with it without losing courage?
That's what we're going to find out, sir. We must find out. Here is the problem, given problem. I have this problem. How does my mind deal with it without coming into conflict with it? That's the fundamental thing which I have to understand. I don't want to be the mind doesn't want to be in conflict with envy. Because it says if I'm in conflict only because I have an idea that I should not be. And becoming what I should not be is another form of conditioning.
Another waste of energy.
No, another form. Now, what am I to do? You discuss it. What am I to do? I know all the tricks. Envy is a word. And I associate that word with that feeling which I have called envy. And the word is not the thing. The image is not the fact. But there is the fact that I feel I would like to have a yacht. Or a marvelous car. Or this, or God knows what else.
May I ask if it's not going off the track about the motivation?
Motive? Right, sir. What is my motive? To go beyond envy? I have no motive.
I mean, the reason why.
I see what is happening. I don't have to have a motive. I see what's happening. I see what people are doing through envy. In different forms, in the most crudest forms, the most subtlest forms, what are the activities politically, economically, socially, religiously, and in relationship with... I see this map of envy. Just observe it. And I say, yes, I'm that. I've got that. I have got all the potential ugliness of envy. Ugly, don't use word ugly, that's the opposite. So I say, now my problem then is, can the mind resolve this envy without the least effort?
If first question is if that's possible. You see that in general one feels from one's conditioning that that's impossible, that they're conditioned to effort.
I refuse to use effort. Observing logically, reasonably, I see if I make an effort to be free or to put aside envy, there is a motive. The motive is to be something other than what is. And the conflict involved in becoming different from what is, I see all that is useless.
Well, that doesn't immediately prove the possibility of the other.
I don't say I'm going to find out. I know only one thing. I have been brought up from childhood to suppress envy and become something else. And I see that the futility of that. At the end of my life, I'm still envious. Though I've suppressed it, disciplined myself, controlled, it comes out at moments when I see something lovely which I want. I'm full of that envy. So is it possible to be free of envy without the least effort?
If I put this question to myself seriously, won't there be something else that I will see?
I'm not you see, moment you say, will there be something more?
Now, I meant, sir, the opposite, that I've always been trying to invoke the opposite, and quite clearly it has never worked.
Therefore finished.
Yes.
I'm becoming one with the envy.
I am becoming one with it. Is there a me who is different from envy? To become or identify myself with envy? Envy is me.
Yes.
I am envy. I don't have to identify myself with it or accept it. It is so. So I'm stuck with this problem. Before I've exercised effort, which involves suppression, control, escaping from envy, all that involved effort. I've been used to that. My tradition, culture says that's the only way. And I see it doesn't resolve it. It doesn't solve the problem. Therefore, I won't go in that direction at all. It's finished. But yet, I'm envious at the end of it. Now, how is the mind to resolve this problem?
Is it possible to withdraw the moral value or moral judgment of these qualities you're discussing, envy, cowardice, bravery, and begin afresh?
That's what we're trying to do.
Without moral judgment.
That just it, sir. Moral judgment implies, doesn't it, duality. And the mind is caught with this feeling. There is no moral judgment. There is no saying a condemnatory or attitude or explanatory or justification, but it says, look, there is envy.
So why would that be a problem if there were no moral value attached to it? You'd just be envious.
No, because I see what it has done in the world. I see what it does in me without bringing morality into it.
You mean that it's painful?
Pardon?
You mean that it is a painful...
No, not painful. I see objectively what it is doing in the world.
It's destructive.
Destructive, from the Pope down and all the way up and down, what it is doing in the world. And so I'm part of the world. The world is me. So I said, the fact is, this exists. And tell me what to do. Let's talk it over. Is it possible, first of all, for a mind that has been so trained, so disciplined, so educated in effort, for such a mind to see the futility of such effort? When it sees that, then there is a problem. Then this problem we can tackle. Until we see the other, we can't come to this.
Seeing is the ending of it.
What's that?
The seeing is the ending of it.
I don't know. Do we see the futility, not intellectually, but actually see how dangerous, how futile is this effort to transform envy into something else?
The difficulty seems not to be the envy, but the effort.
I'm leaving effort alone for the moment. Effort to transform what is into something else.
The problem seems to lie in what we call seeing. What we call seeing.
I'm here seeing.
Not really seeing in depth.
So not only in depth, but seeing what is happening in the world.
Yes, this is well.
I mean, all the politicians, you know what's happening, sir? The strikes, follow this, the destruction of all this that's going on around us. The tremendous landowners, and those who have nothing, and so on, so on, so on. Do I see that intellectually or actually? Do I have any insight into what is going on? We use the term envy for the moment, which divides people and all that. Have I any insight into all that? And therefore, that very insight dispels from my mind this effort, try to be envious in order, all that. So I have only this problem then, the feeling of envy.
Because there is the I.
No, my lady, I understand that. Of course, that's just a word when you say because there is the I, but that doesn't solve the problem.
No, but if one gets rid of the I.
No, who is I to get rid of the I? I is the I. I mean, there is not, the observer is the observed. I mustn't go into all that. So I'm left with this. What am I to do?
Then surely we've got to see that and admit we haven't got the insight.
No, sir. Why?
Not
You mean to say you haven't got insight when you see all that what's going on around you? No?
Not in the depth.
Even superficially or in inch deep. I mean, you see what is happening. The murderous things that are going on.
Some of us do see this. We feel that our envy, our nationalism has produced this world. And
Yes, sir.
It's us.
Yes. So do we see the results of this envy? That's just results of what is happening in the world. And therefore I say, envy is a really cruel thing. whether it's the rich or the poor. It is a cruel thing. And I'm envious. At the end of saying all this, seeing what the world is, I'm envious. I still want the blasted something or other. I want to be perfect master. I want to be perfect, God knows what else, some stupid thing.
I've seen it, I want to end it now.
No, I know. I am left with that. So I say to myself, what am I to do with this thing which I have, which is envy? I see what the envy has done in the world, and I see that envy exists in me. To relatively or great, envy exists, whether it is little or much, it is still the same. So is it possible for the mind to be free of it without the least friction, without the least effort? Because I've seen around me the people who have made effort. And they are still at the end of when they are on their deathbed, they are envious.
So maybe we've got to see what the actual movement of envy is. That is, we've been discussing its results so far, which are already some distance down the stream.
Yes. What is?
It's some distance down the stream from the source.
So, it's quite. What is envy?
Envy is an action.
I see a beautiful thing and I want it.
Envy is a thought.
What?
Envy is a thought.
Look at it, sir. I see you're much more intelligent, bright, clever, efficient. You have lovely eyes and so on. I want all that. That's envy. When I compare myself with somebody, it is envy. Comparison, imitation, conformity is envy. And we are caught in that.
Sir, if someone was digging ditches, should we say?
What?
If someone was digging ditches and they compared themselves with someone who had a better job, obviously, that would be envy again.
No, sir, we went into that. If you're doing a better physical job, I copy it because it's more efficient. There is no envy involved in it. You drive a car better than I do, and I say, he drives, I must learn. In that learning, there is no envy involved in it at all. But because you are efficient and you have a bigger house through your efficiency, I want to have that same kind of house. So I want to become efficient, which is envy.
Is it to do with the way we think of ourselves and we think of other people?
Partly that, isn't it? Dr. Bohm asked, what is the root of envy? Isn't that it, sir? What is the movement of envy? How does it start? What is the foundation of it?
So we want to be at least equal to other people.
No. Envy, you see, not equal only, but the feeling of it. What is the source of this feeling?
Bliss.
What, sir?
Bliss.
Huh?
Bliss.
Bliss?
That's the last thing to do.
I'm unhappy and I want bliss? Non capito. Now, what is the source of this envy?
Well, one is my whole conditioning. I've been brought up like
No. Beyond, what is, sir, What is the source of it? From where does it arise?
It arises in the mind.
Do look at it. You see, you've got answers, unfortunately. You don't, please kindly investigate, look at it. You have envies, haven't you? Of different kinds. How does it come? Is it because of your conditioning, education? Maybe. Or is it, I don't want to touch it yet, I'm coming to it. I want to go into it with you.
I feel very shallow.
Not shallow, sir. No, you are, I don't want to condemn it. When you say shallow, it's all, I want to find out what is the source of envy, how does it come about in my mind?
If I have a strong sense of I, the sense of I must always be comparing, and therefore having envy. Isn't it?
Not quite, sir. Not, you're missing my point.
There's a sense of deep inadequacy, a sense of insufficiency.
No, madam, you are missing my point. I just want to know, how does it come?
You see something and you want it.
No, stick to that. Just hold a minute.
I see.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, well, he said, so please listen to what he said. He said, I see something and I want it. What is the process of that? I see that picture and I want it.
Action.
You form a qualitative image of it.
No, Ted, stick to some, Ted, investigate it, don't move away from it. They're all pushing, just stick to one thing. Now, he's asked the question, hold on a minute, sorry, I'm not trying to stop you, but just, he said to us, I see something and I want it. How does that happen?
I don't know why I want it.
Wait.
It implies if you see something you want it.
Look.
That means that you're not seeing what you are.
Oh, no, my dear chap. He said, I see something and I want it.
Identification?
Huh?
Identification.
I felt that I didn't have it.
No, Ted, keep much simpler, much more simple.
I see something and it gives me pleasure.
It seems as though the whole of the body
I'm not following you, so I'll keep quiet. You continue. I want only one thing. Ted said, I see something and I want it. This is happening all the time. I see a carpet and I want it. I see a beautiful car, I want it. I see a man riding in a Rolls Royce, a power, position, prestige. By Jove, I'd like to be in his place. Or I see a monk and I would like to be a monk. Now, how does this desire arise? Wait, sir. And I said, wait, please, how does it arise? I see that man in that car, driven by a chauffeur, all that, grand, whatever it is. And I'd like to be that.
Because I do not have it.
Huh?
Because I do not have it.
Not yet, sir. No. Not because you are not having it. We're asking, how does the desire arise? First, I see the visual perception. Right, Ted? Visual perception. Stimulation.
And then it goes on.
Wait. Look at the stimulation, the desire, the object of desire. The car, the man, the position, right? So there it is. Perception, contact, sensation, stimulation, desire. Now wait a minute. From then on it becomes envy. I don't know if you're... Right, sir? I see that man in the car, visual perception, and the sensation from that perception. All the thrill, and they're, meeting people and dinners and everybody's saluting him, all that. See what my mind has done. Perception, seeing, sensation, and from that sensation the desire, and the total imagination. We are examining what is, how it comes, not attention or inattention. Right? Now, can the mind stop further than sensation? I can't help seeing the beauty of that autumnal leaves, or the beauty of a car, or the beauty of a mountain, beauty of a picture, a person, whatever it is. But the desire arising, and then all the flowering of that desire in fulfillment. You understand? Now, can the mind stop at that moment of desire?
What do you mean by sensation?
What?
Just, what do you mean by sensation? You said first you see and then...
Sensation, sir, don't you have a sensation when you see that picture? I wish I had it in my room.
Emotion.
I mean, sensation, seeing, touching, the sensation, then desire, then wanting it your room.
Does the sensation follow the touching?
Or it may be the other way around. Seeing, touching, sensation, and all the rest. Now, can the mind stop? Can the mind not go any further than seeing the sensation, the rising of desire, and ending there? Not all the business of it. I don't know if I'm conveying. Ted, do you see it, what I mean?
Yeah, if you hold on to the sensation...
No.
That's what happens.
That's what I'm saying. The moment you hold on, then you are suppressing conflict, duality.
Just be able to observe.
So, how does the perception become envy?
How does perception become envy? I see that picture, right? The picture is very pleasing. And I want it in my room. It's yours, but I want to get it from you, or whatever. I want it in my room. There is envy. You have it, and I haven't got it. You have position, and I have no position. You ride in a big car, and I go by bus. I see this. See, you follow? Visually, I see this. From there, from that seeing, visual seeing, sensation arises, doesn't it? I sit among dirty people and you sit in a comfortable car. And from there arises envy to have your car like yours. And so.
But how does it arise?
How? How what?
Because there is a difference between the seeing it.
Of course there is. That's the whole point. There is a distance, or time lag, whatever you call it, between seeing and the fulfillment. Yes, of course. But can the seeing, the sensation, and the arising of desire, and not the flowering of desire, which is envy? I want to...
I mean, to say that the thought begins to
That's
work.
right, that's right. I didn't want to put it that way because we enter into the whole area of thought. You follow, sir? I want to just stick to that one thing.
What is the factor which says stop and don't go further?
What is the factor which says stop there, or boy, don't go any further? Because
Is
what's
it within the stream of seeing, you see something, and then there is sensation. Before desire flowers into something, there must be a factor which says, which puts a spontaneous natural break, as it were.
Yes.
If it does,
I'll show it to you. And we've understood the question. You've understood his question. What is the natural factor or unnatural factor which stops the flowering of desire? What do you think?
because the past comes into this.
I won't allow past come into it.
No, if the past doesn't come into this, then the
Look,
sequence
Narayan,
is different.
look, I'll show it to you. Very simple it is. Sorry, it may be complicated, but it's simple for me. I have seen what envy has done in the world. Right? The danger, the mischief, the confusion, the misery, the agony of all that I've seen. Seen visually, intellectually, with my being. I've seen that. And that factor of envy still remains in me. Because I'm part of this blasted universe. And I say to myself, how does this envy arise? I've traced it. Because I have seen, the mind has seen what envy has done in the world, the very intelligence of that perception is the operating factor which says, that's enough, old boy. Don't see the futility of it. I don't know if I'm...
That's why I'm saying, if intelligence is the factor that operates, does it come into function when you are seeing, or does it come to functioning when you are seeing, and then the sensation?
No, it's always there. It's there, but I can't. Mind, you cannot help seeing the beauty of it. Picture, or what statue, whatever it is. It's there. And because intelligence is there also, it doesn't develop into anything more.
No, the problem is not that simple, because intelligence seems to function sometimes rather belatedly, sometimes there's no intelligence at all.
That depends. That depends only when you haven't seen the total mischief of envy.
You say that necessarily awakens intelligence to see that.
That's the beginning of it. Of course.
There is another thing I want to ask, sir. You say...
It's not me that's saying, we are discussing.
Yes. I am envy. I can't do anything about envy.
Wait a minute, I don't say that.
No. When you say, I am envy, you are saying that if you do anything about it, the dual process begins.
Yes.
And once it begins...
Wait. Narayan, you are missing my point. When you say, I am envying, you must have seen the observer is the observed.
So it is a state
There is no duality in saying, I am envy.
That's right.
There is no duality there at all. Only the understanding or the realization, the observer is the observed. That's an absolute fact.
When you say it is an absolute fact, it's only so when intelligence is functioning.
No. You see, no. You see, you are putting intelligence before perception. Look, I see envy is not different from the person who thinks he is envious. This is a fact. When I am angry, I am not different from anger. I am anger. That perception is not totally, it's just perception.
I feel in that there is an intensity.
Call it what you like. Perception takes place. Now, I have I have perceived, looking at the world, what envy has done. The mind has an insight into this terrible world.
And you say it's a kind of intelligence, but not the total. Is that what you said?
That's right, sir.
It's the,
I don't know if the others heard it.
oh, when I say it's a kind of intelligence, but not the total intelligence that can change things.
Yes.
So what is I'm even in dualistic states, there is certain kind of perception. It's not entirely without perception.
Of course not. But that perception is distorted perception.
Right. What is the element or factor which helps a perception which is dualistic ending and the perception which is not dualistic functioning? That's the crux of the problem in all these things.
No, Narayan. Sorry, forgive me. We went through this. Look, sir. I see the world as it is. I see what the world what it is through envy. Please follow this a little bit. I want to be clear myself, that's why. And what the world is through envy, monstrous, all the rest of it. I am part of that world. The world is me. I don't differentiate. I don't separate myself from the world. I am all that. Not verbally, but in my feeling, in my real depth of that, I am that. And I have the problem. How is my mind, which is that world, made up of envy, without bringing about duality, which is involved in effort, suppression, limiting, all the rest of it. How is that mind, which is constructed in envy, how is that to be free of that quality? Without effort being brought into it. Where there is effort, there is duality. The observer and the observed. I don't bring in intelligence, nothing, only that. And Dr. Bohm asked, how does this envy arise? What are its roots? We went into that. Seeing, perception, contact, sensation, desire. And allowing that desire to flower. And my question was, can the mind come to that point of desire? Looking is a form of desire. In there, naturally, and not let it flower. Am I asking something too stupid? Something which is my peculiar kink?
there is a great deal of subtlety and difficulty in this, if I may say that. Because when you say something which is natural should end, is it what brings about that ending again? Is it a moral earnestness?
No, I refuse to enter morality into this.
Is it an intuitive perception?
No, I refuse to enter. Listen, I refuse to enter into the morality of this ending. I see it. What is the morality involved?
So it is a simple perception. I see.
No, I see. I feel. I am that. There is no moral justification or moral condemnation.
No, not in that sense. Morality is not a condemnation or justification. It is something in which it's a part of the structure.
Narayan, you're making it too complicated for me. I just want to start. I just want to understand this one principal issue, which is, can what is be changed or transformed or gone beyond, above and all that, without a fraction of any effort, without any friction.
It seems that the effort takes place after it gets into the motion of thought and...
All the rest follows.
Could we look at this point where desire comes onto the threshold and doesn't flower, actually what happens, not taking this intellectually, but actually what happens in each one of us, where at this point there's one thing that's quite clear, it does happen. We don't want to do anything about it.
No, sir, not we don't want.
Where there is an actual desire.
Sir, let's keep it very simple. I see that picture, the sensation, the stimulate, that picture has stimulated the desire to have it.
At this point, I want the desire more than anything else.
Yes. And but you see, if you want more than anything else, there's no problem.
It's only in retrospect.
It's only when you see what envy does and what it has done in the world. If you say, well, I want that picture, my God, I'm going to get it, there's no problem. The problem arises only when you see what envy has done. If you don't see it, well, let's go and play golf and get on with it.
The tycoons have got no problem.
What?
The tycoons have no problem.
And they have lots of them.
Yeah, they've got that type of problem.
Keep what they have. No, don't let's go into it. So,
I don't understand really what you mean by flowering of the desire, because that doesn't seem where the envy comes in.
Yes, my lady, look, I showed you. Desire. I seeing sensation, stimulation sensation, then desire begins. Then says, I must have it. I must be.
What you mean by flowering?
Flowering.
Oh, I didn't
I must have it. I must struggle for it. I must steal money to get it.
That doesn't seem like
Flower. It is enlargement of that.
That I draw from the desire.
A flower is that's flowering of anything.
I see now.
Flowering of my anger. So I'm left with that only problem and nothing else.
So you spoke of intelligence coming in after perception.
I didn't want to bring that in because unfortunately somebody forced me into it. But we go off at a tangent. Now what am I to do? What has actually taken place? Let's come to that. What has actually taken place is that the mind has seen the enormous danger of envy. Right? Not as a verbal picture or as an idea, but an actual fact. And I am still at the end of it, seeing that in the world, I am being part of the world, and I am the world, and that envy remains in me. How is the mind to go beyond it? What has taken place in the mind? Let's begin with that. What has taken place in the mind?
Isn't it always about another person that we're envious?
Madam?
If we see something beautiful, we're not envious of that, but of the person who owns it. It's always
Yes,
another
yes.
person.
I'm not envious of Tutankhamun's.
No.
But who has it?
My relation to another person, isn't it?
What has actually taken place in my mind? I have seen the danger, the mischief, the utter cruelty of envy. And my mind now has this disease of envy. And it sees also that conflict in any form is equally destructive. Conflict in any form with envy, right? Conflict implies the one who is the observer and the observed, the controller and the controlled. So it sees that's not true. So now what has happened to the mind? Before it wasted energy by rationalizing envy. Before it said envy is necessary for progress. And so on, so on, so on. Which has all been a wastage of energy. Now the mind has not wasted that energy. And it has not wasted the energy in the division of conflict between the observer and the observed. Right? It sees they are one, therefore it's no longer wasting its energy in conflict. So now it has not wasted its energy in the traditional way. Now it's got energy. Now, that energy is observing this envy. And not observing. That energy is there. And that energy can brush envy aside completely. There is no problem. I don't know if you meet this. I mean, if I have the energy to climb a mountain, it's not a problem. Problem comes in only when I'm rather weak and unwilling and lazy and all the rest of it. Got it? So, it is the lack of that quality of energy that turns to the opposite. And therefore brings in a series of endless conflicts. I wonder if the sermon is ended.
So that really is our problem, that it's not only envy. The more one looks at oneself, one is absolutely overweighted by these things in which one knows that if one lets one's mind go into them, they're destructive. And then one becomes very negative. There's a danger.
Yes, of course. You see, but we start with wanting to change what is.
first loss of a hint.
That is the highest form of, I don't know, whatever you call it. Can the mind remain with what is without any movement away from it?
Yeah, can you give us any help on that? Because it is the great difficulty is
Yes, sir.
because everybody who one talks to and everything is helping one to move away
Quite.
from this burden
Quite.
Of seeing what is happening in oneself.
You see, sir, look at another problem which is rather interesting. There is sorrow in the world. Apart from envy, there is tremendous sorrow in the world. The killing that's going on, Jew, Arab, Muslim, Hindu, Catholic, Protestant, black and white, you follow? The throwing bombs, the tremendous agony that's going on. And we generally take sides. And there is this sorrow in oneself. Now what is one to do? Go and change the political system? Throw more bombs? What is one to do? Forget it and cultivate your own backyard. What is one to do with this sorrow?
Change oneself.
I see people taking drugs, destroying themselves. It's sorrow. I see people following gurus, and that is sorrow. I see young people being destroyed by ideologies. That's sorrow. And so on. There is sorrow. How am I to deal with it? Not only out there, but in here. Come on, sir, discuss it. This has been an age-old problem. This is not just new invention of mine or yours. The Hindus, as far as I understand it, have said karma. They have said, that's their philosophy, that what you have sown, you reap. The meaning of that word means to act. And your actions are conditioned by past life, by previous acts. You understand? The previous acts of yesterday and also the previous acts of thousands yesterday, your past life. So there, the cause of this sorrow is at the beginning. You understand? And that's their explanation, and they're very happy with it. They say, yes, that's my lot, that's my karma, that's my fate. And the Christians haven't gone so deeply into the matter. Oh, they say, well, economic or political or national disaster, and superficial answers, and they're satisfied with that. And there is sorrow. What is one to do?
So surely the traditional religious view is that if you can remain in this great emptiness and poverty of spirit,
That's right, sir.
They all hint there's a great inner.
I'll show it to you in a minute, sir. That's what I show. I don't know what religions say. I just come to that. What is my mind to do?
First, there's a tremendous feeling of despair in oneself. You've got to deal with that.
No. The moment I bring in despair, why am I despairing? Because I don't know what to do with it. Right? Wait, I don't know what to do with this thing. Therefore, I'm in despair. If I knew what to do, there's no despair. So the despair is a factor of inefficiency. Or of wanting to, or not being able to solve the thing. But if we know what to do, there is neither hope nor despair. It's finished.
Are we talking about the same sorrow? Are we talking about, let's assuming I was to get me right, whatever that means.
No.
What about the rest of them?
No, I'm talking of sorrow, sir. So I've said that. They're killing each other.
Yes, exactly.
That is sorrow.
Yes.
To me, that is sorrow.
Yes, I see that.
I see young people going off and their minds being destroyed by these gurus. I see young people taking drugs. I see old people going to nightclubs. You follow? The whole phenomena of existence is sorrow. And I see, I'm part of all that. So I say now, how is my mind to go beyond it? By creating heaven? By creating a hope, by saying next life you will be perfectly all right. Believe in this, your God will save you, and move away from it altogether, and you won't be sorrowful. Of course, you can take a tranquilizer.
Sir, we just learned about in the discussion about envy.
About?
Envy. Back in the discussion 5 minutes ago, we learned about envy, and we learned how that if we moved away from it, or if we escaped from it, or whatever, it still remains somehow. So now we're discussing sorrow.
Yes.
Now we're trying to learn about sorrow.
That's right. What to do with sorrow? My son dies, I'm sorrowful.
And we learn while we
look, sir, look. There you are learning. My son dies, I'm sorrowful. And I see a man kill somebody else. That's terrible. I see you or taking drugs. I feel sorrowful. I see how your parents have neglected. I see, all that. That's terrible. It's an ugly, sorrowful thing. And I say now, how is the mind, if I can find an answer to this, I can tell you then what to do. You follow? It isn't my answer. Therefore I keep it to myself. Say, I've found my heaven, good places. Answer is to sorrow, not yours or mine. I wonder if you...
What about a concept of suffering?
Concept of suffering?
A way of suffering. If you're able to suffer, then in some way you're not worried by either despair or by
I
hope.
see. Salvation through suffering?
I didn't say salvation.
I'm putting it a different way.
Well, don't.
All right. Then what do you mean by that, sir?
If I know how to live through the things going on in me, I don't feel despair, and I don't feel ridden by hope either.
If you...
I'm able to live through the conflicts and difficulties, I don't feel ridden or hounded by either despair or by hope.
But can you live through this?
Yes.
How?
Just by doing it.
By doing what? I'm surrounded by suffering, sir. Right?
Bearing and paying attention.
What?
Bearing and paying attention.
How do I bear this suffering? It is destroying me. My son is dead. And I see what is happening in the world. The Catholic killing the Protestant. You know what's happening, sir? And that is suffering. The mothers are suffering. And bear it? What? I bear it. Why should I bear it? It's there.
I didn't mean bear it like that. I mean live through it.
I
meant live through it.
How do I live through it?
It never ends.
Huh?
Can't live through it, it never ends.
How do I
You
live?
assume that it's going to end when you say I'll live through it.
What, sir?
You assume it's going to end if you say I'll live through it. You assume it's
Yeah.
going to end.
No, I don't assume.
No, he says, put up with it.
I didn't say put up
I'm
with it.
I'm
You're
sa-
loading me with words which have connotations which is not
Sir,
what I'm talking about.
I understand, sir. I'm trying to understand, sir. I'm not trying to put you into a category. I'm trying to understand. When you say live through it, I lived through a toothache. I lived through a divorce. I lived through poverty. And how do I live through sorrow?
It's a question of transformation.
Transformation of what?
I don't know.
Transformation of sorrow, isn't it?
I can't give you a categorical answer.
No, sir. No, there is no we're asking when you say transformation. Transformation of what? I'm not being clever, sir. I'm just...
I know you are.
Could it be transmuting? Sorry, I meant love.
When you use love, transmute, we'll find out, madam. Let's have little patience. I'm asking, there is this suffering, personal and impersonal. The world is in this state. You go where you will, it is there, like death. And how is that sorrow, which is me, and I'm not different from sorrow, how is that to end?
Can that end?
I don't think about it.
Continual suffering is going on in the world.
I don't think about an ending. I just cope with each moment as it comes.
Yeah, so there it is, in front of me. I don't have to each moment. There it is. Every day I meet it. In them, in me. Because my son is dead. I meet it all the time. I don't want to think about death, and I see hearses, people crying. So what am I to do? If I can find an answer to this.
Isn't there an analogy with the last question, namely the first thing is not to escape, not because one is told not to escape, because one is seen as escape from this nevertheless.
Oh, that's obvious. I mean, going off to church or taking a drink or chasing women or whatever it is, it doesn't solve sorrow.
No, but the more subtle escapes we do at this point.
I mean, therefore you say, don't escape. And that's part of our culture, to escape.
Yes. So couldn't this be
No,
the first
Peter,
point?
escape when you don't know what to do. But if you can find out what to do, then escape is not necessary. So can the mind find what to do with this terrible thing? Terrible, you understand, I'm using merely not in any condemnatory sense, but just what it is doing in the world. Not doing, what is happening in the world. Can my mind not escape from it? Seek comfort. My son is dead, but he will live and we shall meet, or I go to the medium seance and all that. Or I dream and live with his picture for the rest of my life, either picture on the frame or in my heart. Any form of escape is obviously useless, however comforting. So the mind sees the futility of escape, the truth of escape. Therefore, and when you see the truth of it, it has no meaning. So, stopped. Then what takes place? Do I investigate the reasons of sorrow, the cause of it? My son is dead, my brother is dead. We were companions, we liked each other. He's gone, I'm left alone. Self-pity, loneliness, facing life by myself. And essentially is a form of self-pity. And that's part of sorrow. So I say, all right, I've seen that. And I'm still sorrowful. What shall I do? I won't, mind will not escape. Absolutely won't move in that direction. Because it's childish, futile, empty. Nor will it examine endlessly the cause of sorrow, which is another, I go to Africa to study animals in order to understand myself. What's the point of examination endlessly what sorrow is? I know what sorrow is, how it arises. What is the root of it? Loneliness, lack of friendship, lack of love, lack of sense of isolation, lack of companionship. In my brother, in my son, I immortalized myself and he's gone, therefore I'm lost, and so on and so on. I can find a dozen reasons more, explained and unexplained. And I say, that's enough. That analysis to discover the cause of sorrow, I've done it, and I say, that's enough for a boy, now turn. So, since I won't escape, since the mind won't escape, won't analyze more and more for the cause and the explanations of causes, mind can stay completely with that thing called sorrow. Staying means non-movement. Non-movement implies no time. I wonder if lights up. And I see time is sorrow. Because any movement from what is time. And time is one of the factors of sorrow. perhaps the major factor of sorrow. Time to get over nationalities. You follow, sir? Time to get over my loneliness. Time to get over, get more civilized to end wars. So any movement away from this factor is time, and time is the most dangerous factor which sustains sorrow.
You're saying it doesn't produce sorrow but sustains it, or is it both?
It's both.
Both,
of course.
You deal with time. You're not talking about chronological.
Oh no,
time.
that's and there's something much more complex than the mechanical movement of yesterday.
Just deal a little with time.
No, sir, here it is. We're doing it. I don't. Here it is. I see how I wasted time in escape. I see how I wasted time in the analysis of the causes of sorrow. I see how I wasted my time looking for hope, for comfort, for illusions, for a doctrine that will be satisfactory. Mind has wasted time in illusions. So it says, seeing what time has done, which is time as evolution from what is to what it should be, which is movement from here to there, that total movement comes to an end. I assure you, he wanted demonstration. It does come to an end, completely. And one can tell another who is serious in this matter. But the 99.9% of humanity is not serious. They rather play with all kinds of illusions and keep on suffering rather than say, look, tell me what, going beyond it. And it's only very, very serious people that say, right, let's work at it. Can the mind stay completely without any movement?
I'd say that to that simple question there's only three simple answers. I would say to that simple question there's only three simple answers. One of which is no, in which case you're not interested in trying. The other one is yes, which implies that you've done it.
I can't make out what you're saying.
The answer to your question, which began, can you? If one says no, one is convinced that you can't do it. If one says yes, one has to have done it to know that it can be done. The only other answer is to say, I don't know.
Yes. So when you say you don't know, it means you are willing to investigate, aren't you? The man who says, I know, or says, it is so, my brother exists, he stopped investigating. And the man who says, I don't want to know, He stops investigating. But the man who says, really, I don't know, to say that, you must have great humility, mustn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, say, really, I don't know, and begin from there. That is the basis of investigation. Otherwise, you cannot investigate. So, here we are saying envy and sorrow. We don't know what to do with them. And we have been investigating these two things. Time is it, sir?
10 past.
5?
Yes.
Molto basso. Shall we stop? Continue tomorrow.